Hi, I'm John Logan. I'm a guitar player here in St. Louis.
That's very descriptive, John. Who have you played with?
Let's see. I played with Hudson and the Hoodoo Cats for 20 years. I play with the Brother Jefferson Band right now. Pretty much everybody in the last maybe 25 or 30 years that has been on stage in one time or another, I've played with most of them.
That's been my experience with you thus far.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you are a seasoned, now elder St. Louis blues musician?
I've been here 30 years. I'm still a relative newcomer to how deep this music scene is.
Talk more about that.
I don't know much more about it. I just know that it goes, I know that Henry Townsend was the only living, well, when he was alive, he's the only blues artist that recorded in each one of 8 decades. That goes back a long time ago.
Where did you move from?
Austin, Texas.
And why did you move here?
Kind of a long story. What happened in Austin, within the space of about 3 or 4 years, there were about 300 families moving to Austin a week. So the population just exploded, and the cost of living in Austin exploded along with it. And a lot of the people that were the artists that put the city on the map to begin with couldn't afford to live there anymore. I was playing with Hudson, and we were playing in Austin, yes, but we were continually going on the road. We'd start in St. Louis, and then we'd go further north. We'd go up to Minnesota and Wisconsin and come back down and play again in St. Louis, and then we'd go to Austin, and then we'd come back 6 weeks later and do the whole thing over again. So at one point he said, why don't we just move up to St. Louis and use it for a base of operations? And we said, yeah, we'll go up there for about 5 years and just use it for a base, and 30 years later we're both still here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we always felt St. Louis was a great base for touring bands. And we were like a one-day drive from 2/3 of the country.
Exactly the point. Yeah, you are. And so we're still here, and I tour still with the Brother Jefferson Band, not as much as we used to do. I think the first year I was playing with Hudson, we spent 300 nights on the road out of 365. That's a big one, but
Yeah.
it was great.
So when you got here, what do you remember your impression of the music scene here?
The first thing I remember was Art Dwyer. I met him for the first time over at the old Frazier's when it was still just the bag lunch shop. Somewhere there's a picture in the Hudson's archives of Frazier planting that tree that is out in front of there now. He was standing in the hole up to his chest saying these things have to go, they have lots of roots. So there he was with his shovel planting that tree. It's still there. But Art Dwyer was there. He was having breakfast, I think it was, and he welcomed us to the music scene. He said, welcome guys, you guys are just going to make the scene better. And that really impressed me, coming from a place like Austin where everybody went, oh, well, they're just going to come in and take our gigs and stuff. No, we added to the music scene, and that was how we were seen, I think. At least that's the impression I got. And we're really happy to be here.
After playing here and coming from there, do you feel like there was did the St. Louis music affect the way you played?
Absolutely.
So like in which way?
The blues in St. Louis has a different feel than it does in Texas. I mean, you can listen to John McVeigh. That's a Texas blues player right there. And he does it better than almost anyone, at least in my experience. John and I go way back to like 83 in the 6th Street and stuff. But there's a different feel to it here that has a kind of a more urban feel that I really like. And it's not quite so straight up and down. There's a little bit more smoothness to it. I like it.
So if you had to explain the St. Louis sound to someone, St. Louis blues sound, how would you do that? How would you separate
You're
that?
You're going to give me trouble here.
Yes, that's the plan.
I would say that there is the bass players in town tend to play a bit more notes. They don't get out of the groove, but they tend to play a bit more notes than Texas players do. They tend to stay at home, but that's fine. And the drummers go along with it. The rhythm section plays very much together, and the guitar kind of goes with the snare drum. In Texas, it's a little bit more hesitational. Not hesitational, that's the wrong word. It's in the back part of the beat. So when you combine the two of them, you get a really interesting sound if you stay on the back beat, and you also stay a little bit more busier on the bottom end. It's kind of an interesting thing.
Yeah. Is there a band that you've witnessed in the last 30 years that is the best example of that you can think of in St. Louis?
Soulard Blues Band.
Yeah. You played with the Soulard Blues Band for a while, yeah?
No, I was never
official?
No, I go down on Monday nights and play with them, but no.
Okay. I just figured every guitar player had.
No.
That's how many guitar players they've had.
John Mondon's had that chair for quite some time.
Yeah.
And he does a remarkably wonderful job. He's a great player.
There's never a bad musician in that band.
No.
Ever.
There isn't. No,
Yeah.
not at all.
So one thing I've asked folks is, so now that you've been here for all these decades, like, do you think if you were talking to your hardcore Austin people who are like Austin or die, which St. Louis musician would you show them that
From St. Louis?
Yeah, that would be like, yeah, okay, but whatever, we have.
That's a very good question.
Dead or alive,
Well, Benny Smith comes to mind. I would definitely put him on the rack because you could go to school on that guy. So many of those guys, the Benny Smiths and the Tommy Bankheads, learned from the people that did it first, and we lost them all within a period of like 3 years. When I first came here, you could really go to school on those guys because they knew how those licks went. Everybody else sits down and tries to figure it out. You go to a club and hear them. And Benny took that as far as I could hear. He took that bass and then exploded it. So I would say if somebody asked me that, I would give them a recording of Benny Smith.
Yeah. Could you find one?
Probably.
Yeah, there's two,
right.
to my knowledge, that are available.
Right.
So that's why I was asked.
Yeah.
All right, and one of the things we're talking about is Soulard. Since we're in Soulard, we're thinking about, do you have memories of seeing any particular bands in Soulard over the years? Soulard's changed a lot. There's a lot fewer venues, but for a long time.
That's a really hard one for me to answer because we were working so much I didn't get to go see very many other people.
Yeah, sure, okay.
People play Thursday, Friday, Saturday night, so do we.
Yeah.
So we were all over the place in Soulard. We were one of the first bands to play Hammerstones when they first opened up. We played Jonies, we played the old Johnnies, a lot of those places, and I know that those are incarnations of clubs that have been around for a while, or before that. So in terms of going to see, Rich McDonough comes to mind, and his band at the time. I don't think he called it the Renegades quite back then. But they were all over the place. I didn't get the 1860s very much to hear those guys over there. Those guys pretty much stuck to that one club. And coming from Austin, I'd heard enough Stevie Ray Vaughan, so it was enough for me.
Yeah, sure. Okay, so then it's be last question here, after 30, 40, is it 40 years of professional music?
30 here.
30 years?
Well, 30 here, yeah.
30 here, okay. But you spent your whole life at this. And
pretty much off and on. When you do what we do, you don't really make a whole lot of money. And so you have to have other income streams that happen. I was in radio for 20 years, both in Austin and other markets. And then I got a real estate license, got rid of that, and I'm a much happier guy since then.
Is there, what are you looking forward to in the next, do you have a project you're working on? Do you have you've done so much, are you aspiring to something new? Are you hearing something new in your head?
Next year I want to release a record of my stuff and what I do. Some tunes that I've written over the years and some arrangements of kind of familiar tunes that I do that's just a little bit different from other people. I'm hoping that I'll be able to do that next year.
All right. Well, let's sit down then and talk all about it when it happens.
Yeah, I'd love that.
All right, John. Thank you very much for being here.
My pleasure. Thank you.
And we'll talk to you soon.
All right.
Okay. Easy enough, right?